oh, maybe this is just a repeat from a couple days ago. But no. President Biden currently now off the ballot in yet another state in a far, I would say, where Ohio, probably not the friendliest. I'd say maybe one of the least friendly probably states to President Biden, maybe one of the deepest red states in the country. And that, of course, is the state of Alabama. And that just is another situation where they weren't paying attention, kept their eye off the ball, and what have we here?
The statute reads no later than the 82nd day next preceding the fixed day for the election. So 82 days before November 5th, the parties are supposed to, by state law in Alabama, certify who their candidates will be.
Right.
This is yet another state in which I can only imagine there will be more to come as secretaries of state start looking at these deadlines and matching it up with the August 19th start of the DNC and say, hey, wait a second. You're going to miss here.
Yeah,
You're not going to be able to certify your candidate.
In some ways, it's great news. In some ways, it's just funny to deal with because, like you said, they spent years trying to keep President Trump off the ballot, and they themselves, the Democrat elite, weren't paying attention to their own rules, and now are having to scramble just a few months away from a general election to make sure the current president, the incumbent, is on the ballot. I think it's hilarious.
When you have a political party like the DNC, their entire role is to set the convention, to structure things. It is separate from even the Biden campaign. Yeah. So their one job is to make sure that they get ballot access in all 50 states by certifying at the right times. They coordinate with the campaign when these filings are going to happen to make sure that their nominee is on the ballot. Where were the teams of lawyers at the DNC? Do they not have a running tally of dates of when they have to certify to make sure that their paperwork is in on time?
There's not an Excel document somewhere floating around that says they need to do this.
It's not like these secretaries of state are like the Secretary of State of Colorado that was actively trying to remove the candidate from the ballot. The secretaries of state in these respective states, both in Ohio and Alabama, are saying, this is our law. It exists. We didn't make this up just to stop the DNC because we knew when their convention was being held. No, the law was on the books, and the DNC scheduled their convention in spite of that law.
Yeah.
So it's not the same as saying that, conservatives are now trying to take Biden off the ballot. No, they're just saying, here's our law, and actually, we believe in the rule of law, unlike many Democrats,
right.
And so we're going to follow that until we find some sort of amenable way to get around that, if that's what you're looking for, whether that be you having a nominating convention actually before your convention date, or whether the state legislature changes the law. But that's how America works. That's how laws work. It doesn't just say, well, the law says this, but, he is the sitting president, so we're just going to let it slide.
They just assume because he's President Biden, he's going to waltz his way onto the ballot. And look, what do you think? Should we just allow it? Should Alabama do the right thing? Rick Grinnell was on earlier in the week. He just suggested yes. As conservatives, as people who actually care about these kind of issues and don't want to be just ultra partisan all the time, yeah, amend it, figure it out, fix it, because if you are the candidate, you should be on the ballot. However, we are living in a time where political norms have been thrown out the window. And this would certainly not be the case in most big blue states. Some of them maybe. Heck, you'd probably have a Gavin Newsom saying you shouldn't do this. But other than him, weirdly, the ones that try to play both sides here, you would have a lot of states, including the ones like Colorado and Vermont, the ones that already have had these issues, saying, no, President Trump off the ballot. What should we do in this situation if you were making this decision? Do you do the right thing? Or do you just, make them live by the rules and deal with the cards that they were dealt? But Jordan, I'll let you take it from here because we have some pretty interesting developments.
So FISA, we've been talking about for years, has been abused, and we believe it was abused so much leading up into the first Trump campaign, where we had FISA courts being used to spy on American citizens when when the name of the court is a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court. It's the FISC. It's not supposed to be a court to spy on Americans. So we said this has to be after you heard about Carter Page and you saw what happened to Papadopoulos and the Steele dossier, that either this needed to be abolished or radically changed next time this goes up for review. Now, right now, because Congress is so divided, I don't think you're going to see it be abolished. I don't think you're going to see radical changes, but you could see some changes. And here's our kind of position at the ACLJ. There's either going to be some changes to FISA, or on April 19th, likely the House and Senate will just pass a full reauthorization with no changes. That means, for instance, Logan, like some of the proposed changes go to politics, for instance, so that if you got something like the Steele dossier, that would be prohibited for use. So it would prohibit the use of politically derived information in FISA court applications unless the organization is identified, information's corroborated, and corroboration steps are identified. So the FBI can't just take the Steele dossier and go get a FISA warrant. They'd have to actually basically corroborate all the steps themselves. We knew once they did that, they found out it was a bogus document, and they would not have been able to put that through to the court. Another issue is actually having to go and get a warrant first before you start wiretapping American citizens. Now, again, why are we talking about American citizens? It's because under FISA, if you are, again, talking to, and we believe you're a foreign agent, you somehow lose your American rights under the Constitution, though you're not in court, and they can get a warrantless wiretap on your phone. So some congressmen are proposing putting in a warrant requirement there. But there's not clear support for that because the intelligence community says if we have to do that, we lose all of our speed, and so you might as well not have this court system. So we'll see if the warrant stays in. But some of these other, again, prohibitions, at least it's a start, Logan, because we need a lot more support in Washington, D.C. That means elected officials in Washington, D.C., in both the House, the Senate, and the White House to actually make serious reforms to FISA or rethink this whole system and maybe come up with something new that does still protect Americans the way it's supposed to in a post 9/11 world without being so politically involved. I mean, it also has to prohibit the use of press reports in applications unless those press reports are actually corroborated. I mean, think about that, Logan. Right now, you could literally take an article from whatever source and the FBI can use that as their reason to spy on you.